Okay, so you got an enormous porterhouse. These are 21-day dry-aged Olivier. He grows these cattle, he slaughters them, he ages them, and then he breaks them down for us. Really, really, really quality meat. First thing we're going to do, we're going to set our oven 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And today, for searing this, I'm going to use a large cast iron pan. If you don't have a cast iron pan, you can use a grill pan, you can use a saute pan, you can use a grill outside if you want to do that. Just something big enough to sear it in. So while my pan and oven are heating up, in the bag you'll find your steak. There's a little bit of duck fat in the bag, there's a bay leaf, and there's a clove of garlic. So we're going to open our bag up. And we're just going to take the steak out. We don't want the garlic, we don't want the bay leaf. It was just in there, so while it poached, it imparted flavor. And we're going to dab it right here onto a paper towel. We're just going to dab the other side. I preheated my oven, so it came up really, really fast. The steak has already been seasoned with salt and pepper, so at this point you don't need to do anything. Once it's cooked or finished cooking and we slice it and serve it, we'll finish it with some of your finishing salt that's in your bag. So my pan is getting hot. I'm going to put probably, let's see, about 1.5 ounces of oil in there and let that get hot. I can tell pretty much as soon as I put that oil in there, it's spider webbed. So it's already quite hot, but I just want to make sure it's really, really hot for searing this steak. Because we basically just want to sear both sides, baste it with a little butter, and then finish it in the oven so the heat can penetrate in to get to the bone here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go in. Just be careful when you go in a pan. Obviously hot oil can burn your hands, burn your face, burn any part of your body. You're going to want to pick up the steak by the top of the bone, and you just want to kind of take it. You hear how hot that pan is? You just kind of want to take it, and you always want to drop away from yourself, so if oil does splash, it splashes that way and not at you. So a little bit of oil splash, but I think it burns. You can hear we've got a really nice heat in there. It's going to establish that crust on the steak really fast. We're probably going to sear on each side for about 1.5 minutes or so. So it's been about 1.5 minutes. I flipped it. I'm searing the other side. We're going to let this roll on this side for about 1 minute. And then we're going to go in the pan with a little bit of butter and baste the steak. This is completely optional. If you don't want to do this, I'd sear both sides for 1.5 minutes and then go on to my rack and then go in the oven. But I'm going to baste it just because I really like the flavor. If you are going to baste, you want to push your steak to the front of the pan. And then about a tablespoon and a half of butter right in the pan. It's going to start foaming, which is what you want. It's all the flavor. Turn the heat down just a little bit. And then we can baste our steak. Do this for about 20 seconds. Gives a lot of complexity to the steak. And butter makes everything better, you know? It's really beautiful. And I'm going to go ahead and transfer it onto my rack here. So you can see that caramelization there. Really, really, really beautiful. It's a lot of the butter solids searing it. So you can see really beautiful caramelization right there. And me personally, I'm going to take some of this butter. Just be careful, don't burn yourself. and just pour a little bit over the top so it just sits on there right as we finish it in the oven. It's really beautiful. Once again, my oven's at 375 degrees. This steak is probably going to take about 8 minutes in there to tense up and be a nice medium rare. So in about 8 minutes, that should be ready. We just put our steak in the oven, and at the same time, we're going to put in our potatoes just to heat up. We want them to cook as long, if not longer, than the steak's going to take, because we want the tops to caramelize on them. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in now. Okay, so our proteins and our potatoes are in the oven. I'm just going to get everything else ready to go. So we're going to take our corn, we're going to put it on a tray, and we're going to throw this in the oven. It's cold right now. Corn's really dense. I just want it to be hot all the way through. It'll probably take 10 minutes. Okay, so our porterhouse is now out and resting. I'm going to let it rest for 5 minutes before I slice into it. This is really important when you're cooking meat with the bone, because you want that heat to penetrate into the bone so that when you slice, the meat on the bone isn't raw. The steak itself was in the oven for about 10 to 11 minutes at 375 degrees. I just wanted to see it tense up just a little bit. So when you touch it, the blood of the juice of the meat is sitting right on the surface, but it's not pouring out of the bottom. If it pours out of the bottom, it's more cooked. It's more of a medium well. And that's just one of the signs you look for. So we're going to let this rest 5 minutes before we slice it. In the oven, we can go ahead and get our salad ready to go for going with our meal. So you're going to find this large box California chopped salad. I called it a California chopped salad because it's completely vegetarian. It's just all these different vegetables from the farmer's market. There's cherry tomatoes, there's snow peas, there's snap peas, there's some chicories in there, there's some lacinato kale, there's romaine, little Jim, corn, pickled radishes, the list goes on and on and on. It's a lot of salad, lots of different textures. Along with this salad, you have a puffed grain and seed mixture. There's some puffed rice in this, there's some sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, and caraway seed. A little bit of texture on top. And you also have this green curry vinaigrette. This is meant to be like a green goddess, but with different herbs and some curry paste. There's a little bit of fish sauce in it and lime juice as well. I think it turned out really, really delicious. Just a little bit of heat in there. So we're going to grab a mixing bowl. And we're just going to take this salad. We're going to dump the whole thing in a mixing bowl. If you want to eat the whole thing. You can save half of it tomorrow. Do whatever. We're going to season it. I'm going to use kosher salt. You can use the finishing salt if you want here, but I'm going to go ahead and use kosher because I want a finer salt in my salad. Just a little bit right on top. And then we're going to take our green curry vinaigrette. As soon as you open it, just lots of flavor and smells coming off of this thing. So dress your bowl, not your greens. So you're going around the edges of your bowl with your dressing. I think that should be enough. And then just chop or toss your salad in the dressing. Just make sure it's all nice and coated. Give it a taste. Perfect. So you've got plenty of dressing left over to have as a snack or put on a sandwich, something like that. So I'm not going to get really fancy with this salad. I'm just going to pick up the bowl, put it over my bowl, and just dump it all in there. Really nice, bountiful salad for 2 to 3 people. You know, if you're by yourself, this in itself is a meal. Then to finish the top of this, we're going to take our seeds, just for a little bit more added texture, and go right on top. Put as much or as little as you would like, but that's the whole salad right there. Okay, so our salad's all plated and ready to go. Right now we're going to do the corn and the potatoes, and then I'll show you how to put your protein. Our potatoes have been in here for about 15 minutes. They're starting to get nice and colored on the top. Our corn's been in there for about 10 of those minutes, and it's nice and hot right now. So we're going to grab a mixing bowl, and we're going to dump our corn into it so we can dress it with its sauce. In the bag, you'll find a deli labeled cacio e pepe. I know cacio e pepe is a Roman pasta dish, but we took it and kind of spun it on its head and turned it into a sauce to dress our corn with. It's an aioli base and with lots of cracked pepper and a bunch of Parmesan cheese in it. So just stir it up a little bit and then go in and just slather your corn with it. The smell, as soon as it hits it, you can smell the cheese, you can smell the pepper. Really, it smells really, really delicious. There's a bunch of raw garlic in this aioli as well. We just want to mix it up. You're just going to toss it around until it's completely coated. And then you're going to put this in your serving vessel. I'm using a plate with some taller sides so it holds the corn in place. Just like such. And then I don't want to let any of this cheese go to waste, so I'm going to throw this right on top. Just like that. And that's it for your corn. I'm going to put this right here. And then we're going to move into plating our potatoes. So our potatoes at this point have been in the oven 16, 17 minutes. They're nice and caramelized on top. I'm going to go ahead and pull them out of this oven. In your bag, you'll have a 2-ounce container that's labeled French onion dip. We are going to go ahead and take that and put it in the bottom of our serving vessel and just smear it out. This is going to hold the potatoes in place when you pick them up, and B, it's just going to add a little bit of sauce for your potato. The French onion dip itself has some Chinese garlic chive in it, which adds a nice complexity to it, but it's also in your potatoes as well, so that you don't need much on the bottom of the plate. So it's just 2 of us tonight, so I'm just going to 2 of these and save one of the other ones for lunch tomorrow. That's it for your sides. Let's go into the proteins. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. I can tell the meat is nice and rested. It's relaxed a little bit and the juices have started absorbing back into the meat. So we're going to go ahead and slice this. The best way I feel like to slice this is to kind of stand the meat up on the bone, and then right on this side is the tenderloin and on this side is the strip, and we're just gonna go ahead and take our knife and slice down the side of the bone and put that to the side, and then we're gonna go down the other side of the bone. Okay, so we've got the bone here. We can see on the bone itself, it's rare, medium rare, which is right about where I'd want to serve this steak if I was eating it. And then we're going to go ahead and slice our meat and just put it back where it was. So first I'm going to do the tenderloin, because I took that off first. Just slice on a little bit of a bias. You can tell the meat's nice and medium rare in the center. It's really beautiful. I'm going to take this meat and put it right back in the pocket where it was. And then we're going to slice our strip steak. Again, rare, or medium rare, rare, right in between it. That's where I like to eat this. Just again, slice it as thick or as thin as you'd like. Just at a little bit of a bias. Gives you more surface area. And then we're going to pick this guy up. Put it back on the plate as well. Wipe our surface down. And then lastly, but definitely not least, we're going to take our finishing salt and we're going to season the top of this meat. In your bag, you have a deli container of Ernest steak sauce. Here I have a bottle of it that I'm going to serve with my steak. You can put it in a container or just eat it right out of the container it comes in. It's delicious either way. This week it is some lemon verbena and umeboshi in here. It's really, really, really delicious. I hope you all really enjoy this meal as much as I enjoyed preparing it for you. Please post pictures of it and tag me on Instagram, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say about it. Thank you.